It is a First Alert Weather Day. Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. I'm Taylor Durden. Our First Alert Weather team has been tracking these storms and the different weather that we've had all afternoon. Meteorologist Jeff Forgeron joining me, showing some of the video that many of you saw in your own homes. This is one of the issues that we're talking about. This doorway should be at 32 inches. It's only at about 30, and that means that a wheelchair can't get down this hallway. Now to a developing story out of our nation's capital. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe is fired. Here's a look at the Waco district for TxDOT, the map. It goes all the way from Hillsborough all the way down to Salado. Tulane PD also just posted that they are closing the W.S. Young Bridge. I think this is the first time I've ever been on a roof for a story before. Let me show you. There's I-35 right there. We're right at Bubba's 33. And so we've got the brackets, folks. We said this earlier. We're going to fill them out. You ready? Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Taylor Durden. It is hard to believe that we are in April because it definitely does not feel like it is April. I feel like we're in January. Meteorologist Jeff Forgeron joining me. It was cold out there. I had 4 or 5 layers on at once and I needed more. All right, Jeff, thank you so much. We'll check back in just a few minutes. Several O'Reilly Auto Parts locations came together to host a barbecue fundraiser for the families of Cody Cornell and Robert Pellerin. Now, the two men were employees at the O'Reilly Auto Parts in Temple. They were both killed on March 14th. Barbecue plates were sold for $10, and the proceeds of the event were split 50-50 between the two families. Coming up tonight at 10, hear from the Pellerin family on what the event means to them after their tragic loss. Town halls were held across the country today to continue the conversation about gun control laws. Students, parents, and lawmakers participated, but as Brian Clark reports, some lawmakers were noticeably absent. Texas Representative Blake Farenthold is calling it quits following backlash from sexual harassment claims against him. Farenthold, a Republican who represents South Texas, resigned yesterday. He made headlines after a report surfaced showing he used $84,000 in taxpayer money to settle a sexual harassment suit. He promised to repay that, but apparently he hasn't. Farenthold said yesterday that it is time for him to, quote, move along and look for new ways to serve, end quote. Texas National Guard troops began deploying to the state's border with Mexico yesterday. Now, this action comes in the wake of President Trump's announcement to provide more U.S. border security. Officials say by the end of the weekend, at least 250 of its National Guard troops will be along the Texas-Mexico border, adding to the 100 Texas Guard troops already ordered there by the governor. Waco is ranked the number 8 city with the highest drunk driving fatality rates in Texas. That's according to a new study. In Texas, nearly 1,200 people died in drunk driving crashes in 2017. Odessa and Midland are the cities with the most drunk driving deaths in Texas. To see the full list and more information on the study, you can head on over to our website. That's kxxv.com. Well, the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels are performing in Waco for the first time in 30 years this weekend. Hundreds of people bundled up to see the Blue Angels in action at the TSTC airport this afternoon. The 6 pilots performed a low flat show instead of their usual routine because of the cloud deck that was so low. They had the chance to perform a few tricks before the show was cut short. Everybody who has a validated ticket from today's show, hey, you've got some good news here. You will get in free to tomorrow's air show. Coming up, one of the stars from the show This Is Us paid a visit to the silos today as part of her book tour. What those who waited for hours in line had to say about meeting Chrissy Metz. And the U.S. added 103,000 new jobs in March. How many more jobs economists predicted would be added last month? As the wind blows along the Brazos, the Baylor Crew Club is getting ready to set sail.
And roll.
But before they do,
we need a name for this boat.
Benjamin Aaron is a member of the Crew Club. He says not naming a boat could be bad luck.
Whenever we race with these boats, we do it in their honor. And we feel that gives us a little bit of an oomph whenever it gets down to it.
So after the Lau family donated funds for a new boat for the fleet, Aaron got to thinking.
Not having a name for a boat really just kind of subtracts from it.
He heard about a World War II veteran who served at Baylor. He said it was in that moment he knew the boat's name.
We need to ensure that not only what he did at Baylor, but especially overseas in the Eastern Theater of Operations during World War II, should never be forgotten. It's a testament to who we are.
For Aaron, it's not just his pride for Baylor, it's his pride for his country. Before joining this crew, he was on another crew.
I spent 5 years in the Marine Corps, and it was a good experience.
So he came up with the name,
The Irvin Davis.
And today, Davis's twin brother, Irwin, who served in the war with him, is here in his place.
The Irvin Davis.
Yeah, the one and only.
He would be so pleased.
Davis was a barber at Baylor for 56 years.
Had a very successful career as a barber. He sure did.
He died last month.
We're still trying to deal with his passing. You know, it happened so suddenly.
The Irvin Davis was put in the water for the first time.
Look at that. Just beyond what I expected.
A special day.
Mr. Davis, this is Emily. She's one of our novice rowers, and
Okay,
she
thank you.
actually painted something for you to take home to commemorate this boat. So it's a picture of the Irvin Davis for you. So sweet.
That is so good. My, in every detail.
The Irvin Davis will live on in the hearts of many, and his memory will keep sailing on the Brazos River. Reporting in Waco.
Never underestimate what one man can do.
Taylor Durden, Central Texas News Now. As lights reflected off homes near 7th and Garland last night in Waco, people who lived there reflected on what happened.
This black truck comes hauling through here going about 100. I know he was doing at least 100. I went, what? Next thing we know, the police was behind him.
Police say that truck was stolen and 4 people escaped. Pedraza called her son, who lives around the corner, to warn him about what was happening.
We locked down everything we could except the one window.
A window he says 2 people tried to use to get into his house.
And I don't think they seen me because they were still trying to come in. So I banged on the wall real hard, and they stopped what they were doing and exited that away.
It's something Knight can't seem to stop thinking about.
If I would have sat down with my family and watched TV, these suspects would have came into my house and then don't know what they would have done.
Police say they caught 2 people, 23-year-old Don Xavier Jamar Thompson and a 15-year-old girl whose name police won't release. They arrested them for theft. Then, not long after that, police say someone was getting into a white pickup truck when a third suspect saw an opportunity to move.
The third suspect was able to overpower the owner of the truck, stole the second, what now we know now is the second truck, and was effectively driving away with the owner hanging out of that truck.
Driving right towards 9 officers who fired at the truck, the suspect, 19-year-old Dravadrick Johnson, was not hurt. Police say Johnson hit 2 police vehicles before crashing and being arrested. He's facing a number of charges, including 9 counts of aggravated assault against a peace officer. For Pedraza, it's still a shock.
Because nothing like this happens around here.
Reporting in Waco,
It's really a quiet neighborhood.
Taylor Durden, Central Texas News Now.